Welcome to the Bourbon Life Podcast, your source for all things bourbon. Join your hosts, Mark and Matt, as they drink and review bourbons, share news about upcoming events, interview the who's who in the bourbon world, and, most importantly, bring you along for the fun of living the bourbon life. Now, here's your hosts, Mark and Matt.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and with me, as always, not in the Bourbon Life studios this week. It's a surprise location, but with me is my good friend, my buddy, my pal, Matt. Matt, how you doing today?
Mark, I'm doing great, and we are not in the Bourbon Life studios. But first off, how are you?
I'm doing great,
You're
man.
You're over-caffeinated.
Yeah, I'm so jacked up today,
Yeah.
you know? I drink a decaf. I quit drinking caffeine.
Getting on that Mountain Dew early in the morning.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. I had a
spider monkey.
I had a decaf latte, and dude, it's been like 4 weeks since I've had real caffeine, and
Man, it looks like your beard is growing
it's like
faster
as
with all
we
that
talk,
energy.
Like,
yeah.
Maybe it help me lose some weight. That'd be nice, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But doing good, man. Other than this crappy weather, but it's kind of strange for us. We are recording on a Saturday afternoon, which is like this is a first for us, right?
Yeah. But, you know, it seems every time we go remote, it's raining.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So
it's like the curse of the Bourbon Life remote podcast.
It's just reminding us to hydrate.
That's great. I like the way you're thinking. Yeah. And look at me with no water. I have to get some water in a few minutes, but yeah, man. So I'm happy to be here. We'll tell everybody where we are in just a second or two. But first, we need to thank our sponsors, right? Matt, you know what I did? I forgot to check the Bourbon Life, the birthdays, man. God,
next week we promise.
2 weeks in a row, we forgot to thank or give our Bourbon Lifers their birthday shout outs. So next week.
So we're going to be like that really bad aunt and uncle that sends you the card 2 weeks late, and there's like a $5 Long John Silver gift certificate in it or something.
A pink bunny suit, right?
Yeah, something like that.
We'll send you a pink bunny suit to wear around.
Anyway, we are that uncle for you.
But sorry, Bourbon Lifers, if you got a birthday this week and we forgot, man, we'll give you a shout out next week. But with that said, let's thank our sponsors. That's the Stave Restaurant out there in Millville, Kentucky. We had Rebecca, the owner, and Chef Kyle Klatka on last week, as a matter of fact. Hopefully you guys checked out that episode, but we're super appreciative of their support and also love their restaurant. It's out there in Millville, Kentucky. They're located just between Castle and Key and Woodford Reserve, about 10 minutes from Frankfort, about 30 minutes from Lexington, and about 35 minutes from Louisville. So it's a great place. Check them out online. Check them out Instagram, the Stave Kentucky, and then the stavekentucky.com website as well. And then also 3 Chord Bourbon. We appreciate their support as well. Appreciate the stuff they're putting out. Also, the Amplify Rye. Matt's a rye guy, so he definitely enjoys that. And then we both enjoyed that 12 bar. That was probably one of the biggest surprises for us, I think, last year was that 12 bar reserve that they put out. They put out that whiskey drummer. That whiskey drummer?
Yep,
Yeah.
15-year whiskey drummer.
Yeah, man. I wish I could have gotten a bottle of that, but geez, the sample they sent was delicious. So, yeah.
We might know a guy.
We might know a guy. That's right. But we appreciate their support as well. So with that said, Matt, let's jump in and tell everybody who we have with us.
All right. We are on location here in Louisville today, and joining us on the podcast is Chase Hazelbaker from Nulu, or Prohibition Craft Spirits. Chase, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, guys. Excited to be here.
No, man. Thanks for hosting today. I wish we did video so people could see where we are today, man, because we are surrounded by barrels and bottles. And this is a beautiful sight, man. If you're a whiskey, bourbon, rye fan, I mean, this is like kind of going to heaven. What do you say, Matt? I mean, it's
a good description. This is my heaven is certainly not like super well organized, and it's a little rougher around the edges. So this is like, no offense. I like the character in here, though. It's
craft, man.
Yeah, this is the working man.
It's craft.
It's craft.
It's craft. It's craft.
Hand dipped, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So Chase, I usually like to tell people if I know our guest or we've met before, I usually like to tell our listeners how we know each other. But you and I met a couple weeks ago when I came over with Chad, who's actually off in the corner hanging out, drinking over there here with us today. But Chad from Total Wine, he invited me to come over. We came over. I thought we were picking a barrel, and I think we ended up picking 3 barrels that day. We picked a bourbon, and then we ended up picking 2 double oaked barrels. But we follow each other also on Instagram, and I think we're both in the Louisville Bourbon on Facebook. I think you're in there too, right? Yeah. So I know I'd seen your name even before Prohibition Spirit and Nulu was out. I'd seen you in there commenting and things. So
Tatering,
tatering in the Louisville Bourbon Club, man, on Facebook. So it's a good time. So Jason, we've known each other not a long time, but appreciate all you've done. Appreciate you inviting us over here.
Likewise, man.
Today to hang out, man. So we're having a good time. So before we jump in, though, let's talk about. We have a bad habit of doing that, man. We'll start talking and having a conversation, and we forget to talk about what we're drinking. So if you want to, Chase, because this is your stuff, you want to tell everybody what this first pour is that we got poured up?
Yeah. So this is a Nulu Reserve small batch. It's batch 3, coming in at 101 proof. It's a complicated blend. So we did like a 6-barrel base batch of 5-year, 21% rye, char 4 independent Stave Company barrels. So that 6-barrel base batch we cut in half and then threw 10 gallons of a very citrus cream Ford barrel and then 5 gallons of another fruity, spicy cream barrel just to kind of give it a better backbone once you start hitting it with water.
Yeah.
So there's only 120 cases of this. 20 went to Justin's House of Bourbon here in Kentucky.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The other 100 are up in New York and New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
So it was a tiny batch. The other half of that base batch is actually in a tote over there. It's going to be a cast strength batch for Michigan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see it. Maybe we can hook that pump and that tube up and just, siphon a little bit of that out, you know, before we leave.
Yeah, it's 101's great. You can mix a cocktail with it. You can sip it neat. But, I prefer the cast strength, but you got to have different shelf item. This is the shelf item. It's approachable for a new drinker. We blend it with the idea that somebody that drinks Buffalo Trace Antique Collection or Willet or Four Roses nerds, they love cast strength. If this was all they had to pour, it's like, it still has a good finish, still has nice spice, good palate, good body.
Yeah.
It's drinkable. It's got a good nose. And at 5-year, all the barrels are at least 5 year, if not 5 year, 2 month.
Okay.
I feel like it came out really nice. It's balanced. It's nowhere near hot, but it's got nice flavor.
Matt, I see you over there already nosing it, man. What are you picking up on it?
Yeah, the first thing I get right off the bat is a good nose of apricot. The apricot, you were saying the citrus comes forward, so I get like that nice apricot, a little bit of stone fruit, and I get like toasted hazelnuts.
Yes.
It's got like not the chocolate that you would get from Nutella, but actual toasted hazelnut on the nose as well was like my first thought when I sniffed on it.
Well, I'll go with that, Matt. I agree with Matt. That's just what I always say. It smells like bourbon, as our friend Jill said on our episode number 3. It smells like bourbon to me, but no, it does. It's got a really good nose. I like it. There's a little bit. It's 21% rye, so it's not a super high rye spiciness, but it's a little bit of that rye spice comes through to me on the nose. But I like that. So going to the taste, Matt. Well, we can come back to that.
Yeah, let's get into the guest here.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about Chase, man. Who is this man, Chase? Can you tell us a little bit? No, seriously, tell us. Seriously, note, man. Seriously though, tell us a little bit about yourself, or a lot of bit about yourself, man. How you got into the industry and how you got started doing all this.
Oh man, let's see. Where should we start? So my dad is the president of Prohibition Craft Spirits, PCS Distilling Co. 2016, I'll keep it short. You got a fraud involved with our distiller, Harrison Hayden. The fraud was his business partner. There's still evidence tags like on those mash tanks. There's a barrel up there that they let us keep. It's like almost 5-year-old tequila that was aged in early times barrels.
Oh, wow.
So there's an evidence tag on that. So there's a fraud involved. He fled. He hung my dad with, over $100,000 in lawyer fees. He stole identities. He sold like 300% of a business. Can't do that. So this guy was just bad. He fled and drained the bank account. So they looked at my dad. They're like, "Hey, what do we do?" And so we have an insurance and financial planning background. I'd been, selling Medicare insurance, like doing financial planning. Yeah, I still have. Me and my dad jointly manage a little money. He still manages a ton of people's money and does this too. But so. We go from, talking to retirees,
right.
And now fast forward from 2016 when he fled, which was April Fool's 2016. For about 3 years in the marketplace, we were trying to sell vodka, gin, rum, which is our distillate, and then we were sourcing tequila that we bourbon barrel aged. Wasn't working out. You're in Kentucky going against the grain.
Right.
So I started working for a new distributor. They got licensed to help get our products into Kroger. It's called Fish Market. Go figure, right? Fish Market. We sell meat, seafood, and liquor and beer and ice cream. Whatever you want.
Yeah.
If you're hungry or thirsty, we have it. So
Nice little plug there.
So I'm going around to these stores, Kroger, Total Wine. I met Chad, Patrick Jolly from Total Wine, just meeting all these people in the Kentucky, whiskey industry, trying to say, hey, you think you can sell this bourbon barrel aged tequila? We'll take a case. Great, that'll keep the lights going. Everything is going to stay on. At the end of 2019, I was like, Dad, can you get some barrels? So February 2020, we got 20 barrels, and here we are. We can get into that later, of course. But as far as what I do, I work for the distributor. I help out kind of as a liaison because my dad's busy doing, a bunch of different things. My brother kind of takes care of like TTB stuff, label approval. And then we have a front of house, we're a full distillery. We got tours running every day. We have a bar attached that actually in Prohibition was a pharmacy, which is pretty cool. There's like a smuggling tunnel underneath it that goes up to where Irish Hill Pharmacy was.
Nice.
Which ties into our name, Prohibition Craft Spirits.
Great.
Back where we are, this used to be a DJ dance floor, but before that, this was we're told Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali used to box back here. This is a boxing gym.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this place has a ton of Louisville history, man. There's pictures up front on the tour, of the flood of Louisville, where there's water pouring out of that top story windows and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So this place has, like you said, it's it's got character. It's craft.
It's craft. I like that, man.
So, man, that's pretty much what I do. Is I just try to. I guess I run the social media as far as Instagram. I answer questions about where's our whiskey?
Where's my barrel?
Where's my barrel? Hey, man, I asked you for a barrel 2 weeks ago. You never responded. It's a family business, so we all wear a lot of hats. If I'm done at my distribution job, I come down here and just help bottle, or whatever needs to get done. It's it's a family business. We're trying to grow here.
Yeah, man. Well, you're definitely growing it. We can talk more about that in a little bit. No doubt about that, man. What you guys got going on. So now getting back to the bourbon here, Matt. Let's talk about the flavor profile, the taste of it. What do you pick it up on that?
The thing that comes to mind to me is like an almond biscotti. It's got I'm tasting like a graham cracker, some sort of a nice cracker, and then a subtle nuttiness is coming through on it as well. And for some reason, it's just coming across as like almond biscotti.
Nice. Man, I can't get over that rye spicy kick, even at 21%. Because it coats the mouth really good, and I feel that. The finish continues to linger for me, but it's like you talked about earlier, man. You just want it to be balanced, and to me, this seems to be just a very well balanced, bourbon. It's not overpowering in either direction. It's not too sweet, it's not too spicy. There's not one single flavor profile that really jumps out, kind of knocks you over the head and says, hey, I'm vanilla or whatever. But it's just got a really good flavor. I get almost like a brown sugary type of flavor off of it as well.
Yeah, it's got something sweet, like a little honey or brown sugar.
Yeah.
I picked that up too. Was there something that you were trying to match when you were like a taste or a flavor profile when you were going about this, or?
So we put it up against batch 2, which was there was a really good base barrel. Like when we're batching, the master taster, Jordan Avra, and then myself, sometimes our distiller and one of our back of house guys, Paul, help out. But we'll get together and it's all right, what's the base barrel of this? Or we need a few creamy barrels. Mm-hmm. So batch 2 had a lot of cherry. It had a lot of cinnamon, toffee, muffin-ish, kind of like this is, they're similar barrels. And so when we went with this one, the only thing we wanted to do better was keep that balance, keep that easy drinking at 101 proof, but make it finish longer. The last batch was just man, I could drink this all night because the finish lasts 5 seconds, and then I want another sip, and before you know, it's I think I did a live with Pappy von Montrachet.
Oh yeah. I think that's the way. Yeah, on Instagram. Yeah.
So I think I had 4 pours.
The guy with the funny sport coat or whatever he usually wears. Yeah.
Eric. He's a nice guy, and I got wasted, just drinking the batch too. I didn't realize it, but I was like, damn, I had like 7 ounces. That's a lot. So what we do is, Jordan and I, we'll get a good base batch, or we'll get it in a tote at cask strength. So if it's good at cask strength, you're like a certain amount of water, whether it's 90 proof, 107, 108, 105.32, whatever it is.
Yeah.
There's an apex point with water that gives it a nice oily note from bringing down that heat. It breaks those bonds under 108 proof, and you can alleviate some heat while giving your whiskey some more balance. It might open up some sweetness. It might give you some different nutty characters that were hidden within another barrel that was put in the blend's hotness. So you're kind of just playing with where the apex of pure, what we consider the best balance is. So that's kind of what our goal was in mind with this one.
Nice. So it wasn't like, hey, we want this to taste like XYZ, or you didn't have a specific other bourbon like you're trying to match, or you're not saying we've got to have this specific profile. It's like the barrels are just kind of guiding you guys on your process.
Absolutely, man. It's just, we want whiskey that we could drink.
Sure.
So that we've done a batch, or tried to make a batch before, and like hide a barrel that just needs to go to like double oak hell. Like it just needs to be double oak for like 5 years. It needs to restart its life. So I personally, I like to have brown sugar, that brown sugar note. I love that note.
Yeah.
Those 21% rye MGP barrels, they're super sweet with all that corn. But if that rye is mature enough at 5 years old, which our barrels are that age, if it's mature enough, you'll have that brown sugar. And then sometimes you get those off profile, like tannic tobacco leather. Sometimes, we want that in there, but mainly I look for the brown sugar and that fruit note, like apricot, or like almost just a stone fruit, so that way you have some fruit in there, you got some spice, you got some cinnamon, you got that brown sugar, and
a nice combo. And it's funny because we're in your distillery here, and it's got very high vaulted ceilings, and it sounds like it's still pouring the rain out there. It's like coming through the microphones in my headphones. I can still hear the pounding rain on the rooftop. So it's like, if anybody out there, if you guys can hear it, just understand.
Yeah, just bear with the weather here. So that's interesting to go back to your blending. We've talked to a lot of master distillers and blenders on our show, and to hear everyone's different philosophy on how they do it. So often we get people that are blending for huge distilleries, for Old Forester, for Buffalo Trace, for Heaven Hills. So they have a profile, they have a brand, they have a label that they need to fit within.
Right.
So they know, Buffalo Trace is going to be 8 to 10 years old. We know where these barrels are going to come from. We know what flavor we're going for. It's really cool and unique to hear. I don't think we've had anybody quite go into like the detail that you just talked about for a small operation of saying, all right, let's lay down a good batch at first lay down 4 or 6 barrels or something with good backbone that has good bourbon flavor. Get your honey, get your caramel, get your oak, get that brown sugar, and then let's see what we can add to play with it a little more. Where you're talking about, let's add some fruit, let's add something a little funkier. That's really unique to hear.
I think the only other person that I could think of would be Sean from Pinhook.
Yeah, Sean Joe, or maybe even like Barrel
Craft Spirits.
Trip with Simpson. But even then, like, he didn't go.
Not in that much.
Yeah, it's fun to hear the detail that you're talking about in your process here of laying down really good flavors and a good foundation, and then playing from there and shooting around with it. That's cool.
It's so fun, man. Like single barrels where we started, it's like, oh, this is super cool. You get a barrel and they pick the best one. You roll out 4 or 5, and that's the clear winner. It had something special about it. When you're playing with a batch, like, have you ever had like California Gold? Have you ever heard of that?
No.
There's a guy out of Cali that like blends like high end, like he'll blend BTAC and Willet and like expensive bottles, but it comes in like a 375. I think it's like 100 or 200 for a 375.
Oh wow,
or maybe more. But I got to taste it once, and so he's playing with other people's product,
right?
But like at minuscule scales. Like he'll be like, I got 10 milliliters of William LaRue in here, and like for a batch. And so like I don't know how, it's definitely not gallons and gallons, but that sort of idea, and like I don't know, just drinking with other people, and like I don't know if you guys ever like played, if you do a barrel pick and you have a dump cup on the table, even if you have like 4 or 5 barrels out there and you pick one but you dump the other 4 in that dump cup and you try the dump cup, It's probably fire. I mean, because you had 5 barrels that were the distillery you're at thought were like, yeah, these are good enough for single barrels. And the 4 that you passed on, you're like, wow, together these are balanced. There's a lot of depth. There's complexity. And so just playing with, hundreds of gallons of whiskey.
Yeah. It's a rough job, right?
Oh, man.
Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. I'll bear that cross, man. It's heavy.
Well, it's funny you talked about that because when Chad and I were over here for the Total Wine pick and you broke out those double oaked, because I liked the first barrel. I think it was the first barrel and Chad liked the other barrel. Mm-hmm. And we both had our different profiles. Like I really liked the first one. It was sweeter, more dessertish. And Chad was like, oh, I like this other one because it's a little more tannic, kind of in my range. And then we were like, well, can we blend them? So we started taking small samples and we put them together. And it was like, oh, that would be great. So kind of a very small scale of what you guys are doing. But it's a lot of fun, to be able to take things and you pick out a profile in one barrel. And like you said, and you're like, oh, that's a good flavor, but it could be rounded out a little bit better by a combination maybe with this other barrel. So right. That's really cool. So when people buy your stuff, it's not like, and with like Pinhook Bourbon, that's their thing, their jam. It's like, we are not going to put out the same product year after year after year. So if you buy a bottle this year, it's not going to taste like the bottle that you bought, last year, right. Because we're gonna profile it, based on what the barrels are kind of guiding us to. So kind of like what you guys are doing, really. I mean, you don't really have a strict, profile that you're shooting for.
No, just good whiskey, man. We just want it to be. If we don't want to drink it, why would anybody else?
Yeah,
you can't let it leave the door.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool, man. So did you ever think 4-5 years ago that that you'd be here doing this on a regular basis, man?
Oh my gosh, man. No, this is insane. Like I fought my dad for like the first 3 or 4 years. I'm like, dude, this business is losing money. You're stressed. Like, like he stepped away from financial planning. He just serviced his, he quit trying to acquire new clients. And it's like, dude, this place is killing you.
Yeah.
And then I started working for the distributor and, the tour started coming together and they were doing live events like music and DJs and all that. And so 2019 was a better year, but then COVID hit.
Right.
It was February 14th. We got 25-year, 21% rye barrels from MGP. And we're like, whoa, 20 barrels.
Happy Valentine's Day.
No shit. I'm in love.
Yeah. I love you.
Yeah. And then a month later, the world shuts down.
Yeah. Right. My dad's like, what are we going to do? And so like Total Wine was going to buy 4 of those first barrels. And they're like, hey, we got told we're shutting down picks for at least, until we see what's...
Oh, man.
And we're like, oh, so we had sold 1 barrel. We partnered with Louisville Bourbon Club. They did the first barrel.
Yeah.
Had a Ricky Bobby, if you ain't first, your last sticker. It was a hit. The juice was good. And then we did one with Ryan McGuire, LFG. And so we started doing all these group picks. And, man, it's just... I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
The fun, like to go back to blending, what you're saying with like when we just blended those 2 double oaks, that's how all this started. Like how we got better and better at blending. You got to think, like I said, we got barrels last February. Like we've had 14 months experience.
All right.
We drink a lot. We do our homework.
Yeah. We practice a lot. We practice. Practice, man. You're talking about practice.
You're talking
Practice.
Oh man! Shout out Allen Iverson.
Yeah, that's right, man. But that's great though. I mean, it's cool that you guys have been able to do this, and we'll definitely talk about more on those picks. But we're at the end of round 1 here, so let's get some final thoughts on the small batch bourbon. So, guys, Matt, what are you thinking, man?
I've got to stick with everything I had earlier. It's got really good that almond biscotti, like a nice cracker, and good spice on the finish too.
Yeah.
It's not overpowering, certainly at all. It's got good balance. A great place to start at 101 proof. I can't think of any reason not to recommend this to someone early in their bourbon drinking or a seasoned bourbon drinking connoisseur.
Yeah, I agree. That 101 proof. I mean, it seems to be solid for this batch, man. I mean, that's a really good proof point. It drinks, very well rounded, very mature.
Thank you.
For 5 year.
5 year, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good. So you said that these are available at
Justin's House of Bourbon in Louisville and Lexington.
Okay.
And then the New York and New Jersey market.
Yeah. So if you're in New York and New Jersey, which actually that's like our second or third largest, market, at least from Instagram, in terms of our followers. Nice. New York is our number, like it's Louisville, Lexington, and then New York, which is kind of crazy. So
you lucky dogs. So you're getting this.
Yeah. So you guys up in New York, man, you'll definitely need to check this out. But then also, of course, here in Lexington and Louisville, in Kentucky, man, you guys can hit up Justin's House of Bourbon and pick this. So has this already been? Is this out? It's already been distributed.
Yeah, New York's pallet went out, or New York, New Jersey's pallet went out this week, and then Justin's got it.
Okay.
Last week, yeah. So it's available, guys.
Awesome.
And if you're out of state, Justin's, just give them a call or hit the link in our bio on Instagram. They will ship to you.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool.
Perfect.
Yeah, I don't think I knew that Justin's shipped, man. That's good to know.
So they partner with Bourbon Outfitter,
Okay.
which is out of DC. So
Okay. Right. So
gotta love those DC laws, baby.
Yeah, no doubt. That's really cool. All right, guys, let's take a quick break, get a word from our sponsor, and we'll be back with more with Chase Hazelbaker from Prohibition Craft Spirits in just a minute. Hey, Bourbon Lifers. When you're out hunting for those hard-to-find bottles or just enjoying the distilleries of Central Kentucky, you're going to work up an appetite. And when it's time to refuel, we suggest that you visit our good friends Rebecca and Eric Burnworth at the Stave Restaurant. Located at 5711 McCracken Pike in Millville, Kentucky, close to Castle and Key and Woodford Reserve, the Stave Restaurant is just off the beaten path, nestled on the banks of Glens Creek. With a newly redesigned menu, Chef Kyle Klatka prepares amazing food each day featuring an elevated Kentucky-inspired cuisine. You can take our word for it. The food alone is worth the trip to the Stave. With a full-service bar, great bourbon flights, and signature cocktails, the Stave is the perfect place to catch up with friends after a fun-filled day of touring the local distilleries. And you can even purchase bottles of bourbon to take home with you while you're there. Make sure to follow the Stave on Instagram and Facebook at The Stave Kentucky, or visit them online at thestavekentucky.com to stay up to date on everything that's going on. The Stave Restaurant is a bourbon lover's paradise, right here in the heart of bourbon country. All right, everybody, welcome back for what we call it, second shift of the Bourbon Life.
Yeah, that's right. Last week it was second shift, yeah.
Second shift of the
Working
Bourbon
the
Life
double.
Podcast. That's right, working the double. Of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and with me, as always, is my buddy, Matt. Matt, man, we've made it through round one, so how you doing over there?
Good. I got to be on my best behavior. We're not in the Bourbon Life studios here.
I know,
We're
man.
in someone else's house. So.
Yeah. He's going to kick us out if we get out of hand,
That's
man.
right.
Look, if he didn't kick Chad and I out a month or so ago when we were over here, we got a long way to go before we get to that point. Wait, are there any Doritos? I'm kind of disappointed that there aren't any Doritos.
Those are saved for the
The barrel
those
pick.
are emergency Doritos when someone just needs carbs real bad.
Break glass in case of emergency. And bag of Doritos there.
Man. Chad just flew me the international symbol of love from the corner as I referenced his Dorito addiction, especially that particular day.
He was a trooper though.
He was, man.
We tasted a lot of barrels.
Yeah, we did. We drank through quite a bit of things, and we picked some. I thought we picked some really good ones, man. So I was happy to be a part of that. So big thanks to Chad and Total Wine for helping me or letting me be a part of that. So all right, man. Moving on to round two. What do we got poured up in this round, Chase?
So this is one of my favorite barrels that we have right now. It's a 36%, so the MGP high rye mash bill, 60 corn, 4 barley.
Oh, Matt's like he's like, oh yeah.
Sign me up.
So I won't give you my tasting notes because I like that. We kind of discussed this, but it's 6 year, 5 month. It's in an independent Stave company, char 4 barrel, nice rich red color in the bottle. We just pulled the sample this week, and somebody came for a tequila barrel. They picked a tequila, put their name on another tequila.
Yeah.
And they're like, do you have any bourbon I should just try? And yeah, they ended up putting their name on this barrel too.
Wow. Very nice, man. So
Nice.
so it's we've got a tour coming through. That's cool. It's like, hey everybody. That's all right, man. It's craft, right?
It's craft,
Yeah.
man. Yeah,
All right,
Sorry.
so this one, this is actually a single barrel then. This was a single barrel pick.
Yes,
Okay.
it's a single barrel, about 119 to 120 proof. We didn't proof it yet.
Gotcha. So now was this this barrel 6.5, right? Is that what you said?
Yep, 6 year, 5 month.
Okay. So is that kind of one of the older barrels then that you have here on site, I guess?
Yeah, we have about 80 or 90 of these, and then we have like 10 or 15 almost 7 year 95.5 ryes.
Okay.
So we're holding those till 7. That 7 year mark is just
The magic,
beautiful.
Yeah,
magic
that's
point.
right when rye really starts to bloom.
well that
7 year.
yeah, that 95.5 mash bill, like it just goes off in so many different directions. As long as I prefer the ones that aren't dill. If you're not dill, I'll drink you.
Yeah. See, Matt's I
like the dill.
Matt likes the dill.
Yeah, I like it going that way. Well, I enjoy it going any which way, really. At that point,
Matt basically just goes anyway. Wait, no, that's not right.
Hey, any way I can get it.
So Matt, getting back on track here, man. In terms of your tasting notes, it's funny because I'm sitting here trying to concentrate and drink whiskey, and I'm watching all the people on the tour as they look at us like, what are those guys doing down there?
I guess that's the advantage. I have my back to them. I can
and
focus.
the tour guide's on top of barrels.
Yeah, the tour guide's sitting on top of the barrels. Chad's over there taking pictures of the barrels, and we're sitting here drinking and I'm trying to. It's that caffeine, man. I just can't. I'm like,
come on, reel it in.
Yeah, I got to lock it down here, Matt. So go back. Let's talk about the tasting notes, man. What are you picking up on that?
I think, Chase, you might have. I'm not going to say ruined it, but really implanted the blueberry in my mind on this one on the nose. And we were talking off air here, but it's got a really great nose with rich berries, blueberries, and I'm trying to get something out like a toasted grain as opposed to like a toasted wood. It's kind of coming through for me a little bit on it.
I get like whatever you would call an almond skin, whatever that equates to, or like a pecan skin with like maple syrup and then like a ton of blueberries.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can, and I guess it's because that blueberry is in your head, right? It's just like,
sorry,
that's all right, man. It's like now that's all I can think about. But we won't go into the flavor, man. We can just talking about the nose, but it's got a really nice nose on it, man. And Matt, I know you love the higher rye, the higher rye spiciness. So I'm not picking up like any mintiness. I don't detect any of that on this, Matt. I don't know do you pick up any?
No, I'm not getting much mint either. It's got like a sweet and sour kind of nose to it. Like what's coming to mind for me, I'm thinking of, I forget like what those roped candies are, but they have like,
Nerds ropes.
Yeah, something like a long rope, like covered in sugar. Like it's got like a sweet and sour, or like nerd rope or something.
Or the sweet and sour straws.
Yeah,
like the straw's sweet, but there's a bunch of sour all over it.
Yeah,
you're spot on there, bro.
Yeah,
that's killer, man. I love drinking with people.
There you go.
Picking up something like that, like it's. I really like that the blueberries coming through with the sweetness, but there is like that little bit of sour kind of, and I like that. That's unique.
The more air it gets, dude, that nose is. That's bomb. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm probably going to keep like a case of this back. This is fire.
That's good to know. Yeah, that's real good to know.
Oh, and that's why you keep it, just so you can share with people.
Well, that too, plus, quality control, if there's any issues, somebody calls back and says, hey, man, I got this bottle from this barrel and it's this specific barrel pick. And then you can be like, wait, let me pull my quality control samples and I can go back and verify. And I just happen to have 6 of those that are 750 mil each, but that's all right.
Neither here nor there.
Just a little over a gallon.
There you go. It's not, nobody's going to miss that, right? So there you go. So Chase, we talked about you. We talked about how you got into the industry. So kind of let's talk about the brand now. Let's talk about, you touched on initially, that there's obviously some problems that kind of led to this whole thing. So you guys started then as a distiller of gin, tequila, or vodka and
gin and rum.
So go back and kind of talk about that, how it all began. What drove that decision to get into doing that?
So like I was saying, like my dad and a bunch of people got hung with like, a lot of fraud, stolen identities. My dad alone, like $250,000 in attorney's fees was his bill that this dude hung him with.
So now, was your dad involved in the business, or was he just how was he?
He was so he's a CFP, certified financial planner.
Okay,
he was acting as like a consultant CFO kind of. So the way we found out that the fraud was involved is he was trying to balance the books, and he kept getting different bank records, and they were photoshopped, is what he found out.
Oh, gotcha.
Man.
And so the distillery that was his client was Derby City Spirits, which they had all the charges, all the riffraff. But what's cool is like Nulu Tequila was in 2015. It was the official tequila of Forecastle. Like it took over Jose Cuervo. Like, so they had like, that guy's an idiot. He had like a tiger by the tail. Like he hit the lotto scratch off, like
right.
They were doing big things. It was in Liquor Barn, which ABC came and ripped it off the shelves at Liquor Barn, which
wow.
Brad Williams, my man, we have now rekindled and we have mended fences. But yeah, like Harrison almost got put in prison. Brad Williams, the liquor barn almost got put in prison. Like there was just,
wow.
Yeah, like they tried to investigate my dad. He's like, look, I don't even work here. I'm just trying to help these guys get these books bounced so we can go to the SEC for private equity investment. So it was just a huge mess. And so my dad applied for the lease on the building that we now own, this building we're in.
Okay.
And then he applied for a DSP, which, good gosh, that took forever.
Yeah.
Finally, you know.
It's those damn attorneys, man, you know.
You pay them enough commas and tell them to write a letter to the right politician in your state, and the next day it's like, oh shit, our DSP is approved.
There
really?
You go, yeah.
And no, it just took money. We had control of these brands. We had a new business. We applied for DSP. We're in the building. The still was torn down, and we had to buy new stills. We had a bottler. We have Bertha over there. You see that dead forklift? Yeah, Bertha served us well till about a month ago. We got a new Yale. Oh man. So we're trucking along, trying to sell vodka, gin, and rum that Harrison distilled, and we're craft. Like it's not cheap to make those things.
Right.
Our stills are 264 gallon and 300 gallon. So you're talking tiny micro batches of stuff.
Yeah.
So we go to market, pricing wasn't right, marketing wasn't right. We're trying to pay off all these bad debts. There's weddings that said, hey, that guy took a $10,000 deposit, and that was a light flicker.
It's craft, man.
It's craft, man.
It's craft.
Those lights are explosion proof. They're craft.
Craft electric.
Oh, damn.
Craft electric. Yeah, dude, this building is like probably older than all of our grandparents or deceased people. This building's.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So obviously there was a lot of shit going on. I mean, obviously there's just a kind of a bad situation, and then you guys are trying to make it go, and but you're doing it with vodka and gin.
We had to buy new tequila and age it ourselves. So a reposado is about 2 to 11 months. So we let it go 6 or 7. So we came to market, and I mean, it just it was on shelves. Stores would take 2 to 10 cases, but it's it.
Yeah.
Total Wine, once I started distributing for us through Fish Market, they took like 150 cases split between tequila, vodka, gin, and rum in 2019. I think they still have some of it. I mean, I know they still have some of it. It's just
wow.
They move a bottle or two a week.
Yeah.
But it just is what it is. We sell a lot through tours and stuff. It's good stuff. It's just it needs to be marketed better. But so we go along, and 4 years later, we finally get whiskey and all. And so we had this Nulu brand. We're like, what do we name our bourbon? River Bridge, Kentucky this, and so we just were like, we already have Nulu, so let's just do that. And we're right on the edge of what the Nulu Fest considers the Nulu neighborhood.
Okay.
So that's all of our brands: Phoenix Hill Vodka, Highlands Gin, Baxter's Rum. It's all neighborhoods kind of around where we are.
Phoenix Hill.
Oh, the tavern. Yeah, man.
Oh, for for people that don't know, Matt, I mean, Phoenix Hill Tavern was I don't know. I mean, it's not still in business, is it?
No, I'm pretty sure they knocked it down.
Yeah, Phoenix Hill was an old like 70s, 80s, 90s like rock bar and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of live music and bands and stuff. So that's pretty cool. You're paying homage to that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
Oh, the Phoenix Hill neighborhood's like right.
Oh, okay.
Right over there.
I got you.
Or whatever direction that is. Yeah.
So now speaking, I guess that's true. The neighborhood. So Nulu, just so people understand, explain what Nulu is, so people out there outside of Kentucky can understand what Nulu actually means.
Yeah, it's New Louisville. It's just a shortened term. They branded it the Nulu neighborhood. There's Nulu hotels. There's Nulu restaurants. They kind of took a part of Louisville that needed some love, and businesses moved in: bars, restaurants, hotels, bike shops. Just it's a cool little neat area. It's probably a couple square miles, but there's a ton of stuff, a ton of good food, and they've kind of revamped it and modernized it, and it's now thriving. And so it's just a nice little key piece of what Louisville downtown is. It's like right in between the Highlands, which is kind of where you get to the artsy district, and then what goes into more metro downtown area.
Yeah, because you're not. I mean, you feel like you're kind of downtown, but you're not really. You're not in downtown. There's not skyscrapers and huge buildings where we are, but you're right on the verge of that. You're right on the edge of it. So it's a really cool little place, and that's cool that you got the name that, but I know people are like, what in the world is Nulu? What the hell does that mean? You know? So you started making you got the barrels. So you decided you bought those, and you got those last year. Was that right?
Yeah, last February.
So we said it was. Go back to the story here.
Yeah,
Valentine's Day, 2020, a month before.
Damn it, Mark, stay on track. Sorry.
A month before the world ends, you get these 20 barrels.
Yeah, man, great day.
Yeah, and so then contracts are backing out because of COVID. Said
right. Yeah,
so,
people.
So what do you do? How do you I guess this is like a real big test for any business taking a new venture, and I imagine this was a huge test for you too, Chase. Because here you planted the seed with your dad. You said, let's get some whiskey, let's do it. 20 barrels show up, and
he's like, damn it, Chase, we did it. Now look what you did.
Yeah, no, seriously, that's totally what he said. It was even more colorful than that. He's my dad's from Texas. He's like, he always sounds angry, and like redneck as hell, but he's smart as hell. But so yeah, he's like, what the fuck are we gonna do, man? Like, what are we gonna do, boy? And so, man, I was in these bourbon groups and started collecting in 2019 in and out of these stores, trying to sell tequila and vodka and stuff. And
right.
So I'd been collecting for about a year, and that's what I was like, man, like bourbon is, dude, I love bourbon. Bourbon's fun. It's hot. Like the community is, I really think like worst case we'll drink them, man. He's like, no, like this is business, man. You can't just drink 20 barrels.
Drink 20 barrels. Oh yeah, Dad, just watch. Yeah.
Right.
Here, Dad, hold my beer.
Exactly. And that's kind of how he feels like it went. Like he'll never tell me like, dude, like what we're doing is like, or he does sometimes, but like people always tell me, they're like, your dad like thinks what you guys are doing is just incredible. Cause like between the networking and the bottling team, like we just never thought it was going to be like this, 20 barrels, like we sell 20 barrels in a week sometimes between batches and barrel picks. But so we reached out to these barrel pick groups, Louisville Bourbon Club.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Y'all did that first barrel. We'll never forget it. And then Ryan McGuire, then you had a group that's like kind of a national group that did one. And then we had, more just groups that are kind of these national Facebook groups.
Yeah.
That, they have a good network of ways to hand off bottles in a legal way. And so
everything's above board.
Right.
And
so
it's done legally.
Well, we have a great relationship with the ABC here. Everything we do is above board.
Sure, yeah.
A group did buy a barrel through the gift shop legally, and then in West Virginia, they had like 4 or 5 different picks. They were like sitting in a parking lot with a U-Haul, and ABC rolled up. They're like, you just can't go all over the country, pick up 5 barrels, and then resell them to your group members and ship them. And then, but we're like, they tried to say we told them to sell stuff. We're like, no, we never said, resell our product illegally and ship it to people illegally.
Right, yeah.
Of course, this business said that. So, so like all these barrel pick groups, man, start coming through. They're picking barrels. And then you run into the problem. It's like, all right, we had like 4 or 5 barrel pick groups. Total Wine came back on board. Kroger got one. Party Source got a barrel. And we're like, all right, so now we're down to like 10 barrels.
Yeah.
Well, we need more, Dad. And he's like, okay. So we get 10 more, which is like funny to think like we troubled somebody to bring 10 barrels on a truck. Like,
yeah.
So we got 10 more barrels. We're like, sweet, we got 20 again. And then we did a couple more picks. And then, so the barrel picks are just what really, that's what all we did was barrel picks, but stores, they saw that these Facebook groups were moving them, and like eating them up. Like, hey, group members, we have an opportunity to buy this barrel, and poof, in 30 minutes, they're all,
right.
From their 1,000 members, like, we want one.
Yeah.
So from there, the retail space started picking up a little bit. And then we started doing different stuff, try to just innovate, and I guess that's what we had to do to grow. Let's try toasting. Those double oaks, those 2 barrels you guys picked were part of our first 20 barrels.
Oh, cool.
So those are, we held those for about a year.
Giving a thumbs up to Chad on that pick, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you do pick up a double oak 1 or double oak 3, blend them together. It's really nice.
Oh, yeah.
That balance of the richness from double oak 3 and the sweetness. That double oak 1's sweet on the front. It's got that crazy cocoa leathery tannic.
Yeah.
But when they're together, it's really balanced. But yeah, so we just started doing goofy stuff like toasting barrels and honey barrels, and now we're doing apple brandy, peach brandy, cherry brandy, ex-sherry, Oloroso apple brandy, honey rye, maple rye. Anything you can try to do to like. I feel like the transparency is key though. Is like, look,
sure.
here's our process
right,
down to the day.
Right.
and here's the juice we're using. And so that's just kind of how it kind of evolved, as it went from barrel picks to where it was like, we are doing a ton of barrel picks. Wow. And now states are like, we want to distribute your stuff. People want to drink it. They like barrel pick groups are the only way you can get it, really. Like, or retailers have it for a little while. If you're in Kentucky, it's all over the place. But, how do we get it outside of state? So New York, New Jersey came on. Georgia's coming on. Texas, Arkansas, Mississippi. And now it's like barrel picks and small batches are just all the time.
That's awesome, man. I mean, just growing the brand like crazy in a very short period of time, man. And you talked about doing your social media, and I really think, from my perspective, that's had a huge, you talked about the Facebook groups in your Instagram presence. I mean, it's really, really how your brand has exploded. I mean, for lack of a better way to to say it, man. So it's it's really cool, and I enjoy following you guys. Of course, I love giving you some shit on on social media every once in a while when you're posting stuff, and giving you props when you're getting into the new states and everything else, man. So
appreciate it, man. Yeah, dude, the social media is fun though. Like, you got to think, it's to the point where it's like people are messaging, like, so I'm, most people know I run the Instagram. It's like they're messaging me like, hey, where can I get this bottle? Or how do I get that one with that sticker? Or, like, thanks, this bottle's great. It's like really cool just to, there's people all over the world really, like, at this point.
Yeah.
Like, we're about to do an Alberta, Canada exclusive small batch. Like, we never thought we'd be international whiskey.
Yeah,
like,
we're international prestige worldwide.
Yeah, man. Music video coming soon.
That's right. Bourbons and hoes.
Nice.
Something like that. All right, man. Let's talk about the whiskey a little bit more here. Matt, what are you thinking, man?
It's got a lot of sweet maple syrup, like a really deep, rich maple syrup to the palate on it. Some of that blueberry comes through that we were talking about on the palate as well. It's just the beautiful spice. It's got a really nice spicy finish.
It does.
That 36% rye.
Yeah. See, Matt, you're
right in that wheelhouse.
Yeah, you're converting me over on these higher rye mash bills, man. It's like the dark side.
Do it.
I'm your father, right? But yeah, man, this is. I agree, Matt. On the palate. It coats everywhere. The tongue is like still tingling from the last taste. It's like, and what's the proof on this?
Probably about 120. It's at least 119. That's
doesn't
what it was.
drink that hot.
I was going to say, man, it doesn't at all. That's why I'm like, this would be. You talked earlier about drinking 7 or so ounces or more. This would be an easy, third to half a bottle, and be like, oh shit, what'd I do?
Danger. I like the heat I get on the finish from this. I'm just going to go back to this one real quick. Is more of like a chili pepper heat. A lot of times when we think of high rye, and Mark, you and I talk about like a 95.5, especially the pepperiness, like you get peppercorn, you get the heat from green peppercorn, black peppercorn, all those flavors. But I picked up like a chili pepper heat coming through with it, and like a little bit of like that smoky depth, like a paprika finish.
I definitely get some smokiness to it, but on the pepper, because sometimes you get that cinnamony, and this really isn't coming across as a cinnamon or like a black peppercorn to me. And I couldn't think of how to describe it, Matt, but that's a perfect descriptor. Is like a hot pepper, because it leaves that lasting sensation. Like when you have a jalapeno, you eat it, it's hot, and then it lingers and lingers and lingers. And this is doing the same thing. And so
you guys are welcome to come drink here and share tasting notes whenever you want. When we get all these new barrels, we got to taste them, man. I like your notes, man. You're spot on.
It's Matt. It's not. I mean, I just sit here and agree with Matt. Matt's the guy. So,
but he's right though, isn't he? You're like,
he is.
As soon as he said pepper, I'm like, jalapeno. I'm like smelling jalapeno and blueberry and maple syrup and pancakes and.
Matt's got the the background in the baking world and also in the cooking world, man. So he
just say it confidently enough, and
but you're right.
Couple guys to agree with you.
Matt, I could sit here and say like, oh yeah, this smells like pork sausage that I had. Nobody's going to agree with that, So no, you can't just make shit up and people are going to be like, "Yo, you're right."
You can like shoot in the dark and be like, "Yeah, it's vanilla."
It's vanilla, yeah.
There's like a 98% chance that bourbon's vanilla.
I'm getting a little marzipan on this, a toasted marzipan, definitely. Yeah. See, Matt, man.
Anyway, enough about me, man. We got a great guest with us. We don't need to talk about Matt here. We've got someone far more interesting on the podcast.
Well, we've actually reached the end of second shift. Mm-hmm. It's time for that whistle to blow and everybody punch their clocks and get ready for third shift, right? So, final thoughts on this bottle, Matt.
It's a banger.
Banger. That's the word I'd like to hear. Yeah, man, I agree.
My man.
Seriously, man, this is really good. So, kudos to the group that managed to pick this one. So,
should be at Local Feed in Georgetown. Great food. Better barrels.
Nice. Oh, so Local Feed. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So
This one's staying local then.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
This one will be around.
So they'll be able
right.
to. So they will sell it then at the
Yeah.
store at Local Feed. What's that guy's? What's his name?
Justin Thompson.
Justin. Yeah. Okay. Cool, man. Big plug for Local Feed there, right? So So now has this hasn't gone out though yet?
No. He's getting a new 3-year, 3-month extra añejo that was aged in like an Elmer T. Lee or Rock Hill barrel. It's a mash bill 2.
Okay.
That was fresh dump. He's getting that next week. We're his tequila for his like $11 or $12 margarita.
Oh, nice.
It's really good. I mean, you got to think like this tequila is like half bourbon, half tequila. It's got like a bourbon nose. It's got the tequila backbone. It's super unique, and it's like 119 proof tequila.
Ooh.
You know?
Oh, wow.
It drinks like water though. Like you can get real drunk real fast on that.
Yeah, that sounds. Yeah, we'll definitely check that out. And they're in Georgetown, right?
Yep,
Local
Georgetown,
Feed,
Kentucky.
right?
They're right across from where Elijah Craig's first like well was.
Okay.
That park right there where he like discovered the water, the limestone water.
Yeah, where his barn burned down and it magically toasted the inside of his barrel and left the exterior.
He like put his finger in there. He was like, first.
I did it first. I toasted the barrel. That's right. That's me. I'm the father of bourbon now, right? So anyway, all right, guys. So let's wrap this one up. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, we digress. 2 thumbs up for me for sure, Matt. I know you're a big fan.
Mm-hmm.
Chase, I'm assuming obviously as he swallows down the last drop of his drink. So 2 thumbs up. So get a word. Yeah, we'll get a word from our sponsor, and we'll be right back with more with Chase Hazelbaker with Prohibition Craft Spirits in just a minute. Hey, Bourbon Lifers. We want to take just a second and tell you a little bit about 3 Chord Whiskey. 3 Chord's line of whiskeys embody the spirit of creativity. The whiskey is a true collaboration between producer and composer Neil Giraldo and master blender distiller Ari Sussman. The 3 Chord team of expert blenders, coopers, and sensory professionals have developed a multi-step process they call perfectly tuned taste. This process begins by carefully selecting the finest bourbon and rye whiskeys from Kentucky, Tennessee, and Indiana, and then blending them all together. After each blend is completed, the 3 Chord team then applies their proprietary process of pyrolysis, that's a lot to say, isn't it? Which involves heating American oak to precise temperatures to release specific flavor and aroma compounds. Then they use another proprietary method called rhythmic disruption process, and that's more than just playing music to a bunch of barrels, which integrates all of those related compounds into the blended spirit. Finally, each small batch blend of 3 Chord is evaluated by a trained sensory panel to ensure an uncommon depth of flavor, character, aroma, and a perfectly tuned taste in each bottle. With their introductory blended bourbon, their Amplify Rye, Strange Collaboration, which is a Pinot Noir finished Kentucky bourbon, their 94 rated 12-bar reserve, and the brand new highly coveted 15-year Kentucky bourbon they call the Whiskey Drummer, there's a lot of options available from 3 Chord. Like the feeling you get when you hear that perfect song, you'll know that the 3 Chord line of whiskeys are right from the first sip. They resonate with so much flavor, you'll want an encore. Find out more about 3 Chord whiskeys and distribution in your area at www.3chordbourbon.com. All right, everybody, welcome back for the third and final shift of the Bourbon Life Podcast. Oh, my God, I'm already just toasted. No, I'm just kidding. Of the Bourbon Life Podcast, I'm your host, Mark. With me, as always, is my good friend, Matt. Matt, we've made it this far, man.
I know. We better stick around. We're putting in overtime. The dirty double here.
Yeah, we are. Yeah,
Third
no doubt about it.
Back with Chase Hazelbaker from Prohibition Craft Spirits in Nulu. And Chase, what do we have poured up for round 3?
This is a local group's toasted rye.
Oh, that's right. I'm grabbing the wrong one here.
You grabbed the wrong bottle, man.
Glad somebody's got me under control here.
So this was in there. And actually, we used 2 different toasted barrels. The one just didn't give it enough. After they air off, some of that toast falls off, some of the wood falls off. So you want to have it rounded. You want the marshmallow there. You want that wood. You want that like toasted almond, a little bit of smoky wood in there. like barbecue wood.
Yeah. So when you get these barrels that you're finishing in, where are you getting those? Are you sourcing those from somebody or?
Yeah, Kelvin Cooperage.
Okay.
All of our finishing barrels, as far as toasted or double oak, are now from Kelvin. They do a great job. They're a craft cooperage.
It's craft.
It's craft, man. You got craft on craft.
Yes, sir. There you go.
So this was in a medium toast, 2 different medium toast barrels, which is like char 2 if you're equating char level.
Gotcha. So when you get those barrels, are you asking them and saying specifically, we want this char or toast level on those? Yep. And all right, and you're doing that just based on experience, just other barrels you've done, or just like, hey, let's just try this one? I mean, how do you make that determination, man?
It's all based off of like what oils come out of which level. So kind of like with char 1, you're not getting as deep of an alligator char, so the penetration's different. The oils you get from that char. Same with toast. You're putting a barrel in an oven. You're cooking out different oils. A light toast is going to give you vanillin, which is that vanilla.
Right.
It's going to impart a lot of brown sugar, vanilla, and like sweet cream. When you toast, you get a lot of oil because you're putting a fresh barrel's oils onto a whiskey. Medium toast, which is what this rye has, it gives that a toffee note, an almond, like a toasted almond, a little bit more caramel than vanilla. It still gets that sweet marshmallowy oil in there. And then medium plus is just kind of that, but heavier on the tannin. And then heavy is just rich, like Woodford double oaked and double oaked uses a char 1 heavy toast.
Right.
So you're getting the best of both worlds, which we've started to play with those hybrid barrels, and they're phenomenal.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, because I'm a big fan. I love the double oaked and the double oaks. This year's double was kind of surprising to me that it was still kind of a spicier. It didn't have that marshmallowy, campfirey, flavor that I was used to from like the 20 or the 19 and the 18. Yeah. That campfire s'more kind of flavor. It's funny because I opened the bottle and like it's spicier. I thought, okay, maybe I got something wrong here.
Yeah,
but you just never know, right? So
it was really woody too.
Really. Yeah, kind of a surprise on this year's double oaked. Yeah, I get you. Good thing I've got 4.5 bottles, right?
Way to plan ahead.
Yeah, maybe you have to trade those off. No, I'm just kidding.
Trade them into 19 and 18s.
Yeah, man, the 18 was the first one I ever had, and dude, that one was like just amazing. But anyway, let's get back to your stuff here, man. So no more plugging other people's whiskey. Let's get back to Nulu. Matt, as you take a big drink of water.
Yeah, come back to me. Someone else jump in here.
Nope, too late. Now you're good. So what are you picking up on this one?
Right on the nose, I get the oak coming through with the second toasting, and a little bit of like almond that we had talked about, the toasting from almond. But I'm curious to play with the nose a little bit more and smell it.
I'm getting like a mintiness off of from the rye that's still coming through as well. So to me that was the first thing I really picked up was Matt, you're looking perplexed when I said that. Like, no, dude, not hitting that.
There's mint in there, yeah.
So the original barrel before they toasted it, this group actually picked a barrel. We let them taste like 4 or 5 different toasted ryes we'd done. We were like, hey, let's do a cool pick. Where else are you going and picking a barrel and then having us toast it? And we're like, hey, we'll pull it when it's good.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to trust, us, the tasting team. But so this was like a candy cane. It was super bright, pepperminty, eucalyptus, but it had really good qualities. So when you toast something, you just want to have a good backbone. It can be hot as hell, but those oils will cover that up.
Yeah.
You almost want that. So by the time the oils are there, it's balanced. But this one was, like you said, that mintiness is still in the background.
Yeah.
As it gets air, I find that toast starts to be more prevalent.
Starts coming out.
But it wasn't a super long toast. We tried to accentuate the whiskey versus just like I said earlier in the podcast, like send it to toast hell. Like you can just take a barrel that sucks and send it to toast hell, and someone's gonna be like, "This is incredible whiskey."
Awesome. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we agree, it's good, but you don't want to try what it was before. 'Cause it sucked.
Well, you're just reincarnating it, right? You're giving it second life, breathing life into bourbons and ryes that need a second chance.
Just needs a better barrel.
There you go. That's right. So this is MGP rye. So this is 95.5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's a 4.5-year original barrel. Was a Speyside char 4, and now it was into a Kelvin medium toast, not charred.
Gotcha. Matt, coming back to you now that you've...
All right.
Yeah,
back to me. So I've tasted it now. And Mark, I got to give you credit for the mint. The mint on the nose.
Thank you.
It's coming
Finally,
through.
I got a note.
There's
right.
oak on there. There's mint. I'm picking up some vanilla as well. Just like a nice softness, a nice just like creaminess on the nose. But the palate on it, I get marshmallow. The mint really comes through.
Yeah.
And so does a little bit of chocolate. It's almost like as if you were to make a s'more, but use like a mint chocolate
Like
bar.
a York.
Like a York peppermint patty.
Yeah.
There you go.
I was thinking that exact same thing. A mint chocolate bar, the York peppermint patty. Yeah.
But that spiciness, man, just keeps, it's great because it's like the flavors kind of dissipate, but that spiciness just lingers on the back of the palate.
A nice peppery.
Yeah, this is the this is the peppery. This
Spice.
isn't like the chili pepper. This is that black peppercorn type of spiciness. But it was with that mintiness. But I get a sweetness, and it's almost coming across to me on the palate. It was almost like a honey. So it was almost like a honey mint. I don't want to say tea because I didn't get that tea. Sometimes you get that black tea flavor from ryes. I didn't really get the tea flavor, but I got a combination of honey and mint. So to me, that was a really neat combination.
I could see if you made like a sweet herbal tea, like a sweet minted tea.
Yeah.
Or like a
not
julep.
Yeah.
Kind of tastes like a little bit like a julep.
And what's the proof on this one?
It is, I've got it in front of you, 114.6.
Nice.
So another one that does not drink that hot.
No, not at all, man. These are seriously, man. These are bottles that you could sit down and do. Well, we know how much damage as I look at Chad in the background over there.
So are these at barrel strength? These are
Okay. Yeah, the toasted oils will bring it down maybe a 0.2 to 0.4. But yeah, man, goes in at cask strength. We try to do anything and everything at cask strength.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, we really just run whiskey through a grease filter just to pull char out for the bottler. We try to give you this close of experience as what you would have coming here and just pulling it out with a thief.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says real big right on the label here. I'm looking at it. Non-chill filtered right there in the front. So nothing to hide behind there.
No, yeah, transparency's key with this stuff, man. People want to know what you're doing to the whiskey.
Yeah.
If you put staves in it or finish it 10 times or...
Yeah, but the cool thing is, Chase, I mean, we talked about social media and Instagram and Facebook and being in the Facebook groups. And which you are, so you can see what people bitch about, what they don't like when a brand comes out. Especially that's one of the big things I see consistently is, okay, where's this from? What's the mash bill? These distillers or these non-producing or non-distilling producers, that put stuff out and they don't tell you what it is. They don't tell you where it's from. They don't tell you the mash bill. They won't tell you the things. And it's almost like offensive to a lot of people, man, and they'll really tear into them sometimes, man. So that's really cool. But you obviously being in those groups, I'm sure you've seen that, man. So I'm sure that probably helped drive the decision to, hey, man, we're going to be transparent, we're going to be open,
absolutely,
let everybody know what's up.
Yeah, when you've got nothing to hide, why try to hide anything? The only thing that's going on in here is
there's an evidence tag on a tank over here still, man. We ain't hiding nothing, right? So
good quality bourbon and rye done well. So there's
man.
Nothing to hide behind.
No. Yeah, and I'm going to digress for a minute because in the break I tasted some of your tequila. Is that your distillate?
No, that's sourced.
Okay,
so we can't bottle it as tequila because like Mexican TTB, which is the CRT.
Okay.
Their law is that tequila has to be bottled in Mexico to be called tequila.
Oh,
so
okay.
we bring that across the border as 100% blue agave spirit. So
I gotcha.
There's no GNS. It's 100% blue agave.
Nice.
Brick oven.
I just I looked over and saw that bottle that we're sampling a lot of different things here today, man. So we'll have to have another episode where we can branch off into the other spirits and things that you guys got going on over here. So let's talk about your single barrel program, man. You guys, we kind of alluded to it. We've mentioned it, the things we're drinking. A lot of them have been barrel picks from clubs and groups. So, so talk about that, man. How did it start? How did it happen?
Man, just being in the groups, doing typical Tater things, trading and trying to just drink great whiskey on it,
Sure.
That's where I was like, dude, MGP's great. I mean, you try the old Smooth Amblers, you try, what was it, Mike Drop, their third iteration was a 4-year bourbon batch that was great. It was like lemon candy. So just trying all this different whiskey, I'm like, Dad, let's get these barrels. We got those last year. And so I'm like, if MGP's good most of the time, we can have a good product or we can make a good finished product, whatever it is. And so going to the groups, it was just initially, unfinished, just barrels. We get them in, we might sit on them for a little bit and bottle them. You get 50 in, you pick, there's probably 5, and if you're really lucky, there's 9 or 10 on that truck that are just fire. You can dump them day one and somebody wants them. So that's where the finishing and blending, and that's, how companies like the big guys, that's same premise, probably the similar numbers, as far as a tenth of them are great, and then the rest, it's like, let's figure out how to make good whiskey great.
Right.
So being in the groups and all, it's like, we want to have good whiskey, and so I feel like that's where we've gotten, and it's to the point now where, at the beginning it was like we would reach out to groups, we'd reach out to retailers, hey, you want to try this? Hey, it's a new product. And now it's to the point where everyone's reaching out to us, and it's a relief. It's super cool. It's rewarding. It's humbling, honestly. Like,
sure.
The community is badass, dude. Like, the whole premise of this is like we would do barrel picks with groups, and they'd come in and it was like, hey, I'm going to bring bottles from my collection. People that work here are going to have bottles from their collection. Like, trust me, I drink MGP a lot, and we're going to get to a point where it's like, you picked your barrel, but we're going to want to keep drinking. Like, we even let groups like dump their barrel and then bottle it same day. Like, where else can you go? Dump your barrel, bottle it same day. It's like a 3 or 4 hour day, but you get to know a group, and it's like, look, we now got a good relationship. You guys know who we are. We know who you are. We're all pretty drunk. We've been drinking a lot of stuff, but people bring different barrel picks, different, high end bottles, this and that. And,
right.
it turned into a bottle share, which was really, really fun, really cool. Thank God no one ever got stabbed with a forklift or fell off of anything, or there was a group that was like, you need a liability waiver because this is a warehouse. But, so we don't do that as often anymore. We kept that very, very small groups with COVID and all. So
sure.
It's really, more intimate with people, but that's kind of what is like, I think us just being real, like I'm accessible. Anyone just hit us up on Instagram, message me, whatever. I try to answer most questions. Unless it's like somebody just asking for free shit. That is, come on, dude.
Yeah, like stop at. It's funny, man. That was one thing that I appreciated when I came over with Chad to do that barrel pick with Total One. One of the first things you said to me, you're like, man, you're like one of the few people on Instagram and social media that has not like consistently or tried to just hit me up and ask me for free stuff all the time, which kind of stuck out to me because it's just not the way that I do. The Bourbon Life is about sharing what we've got and just getting to meet great people like you, and it's not about, hey man, send me the best bottles you got because I'm gonna promote them to my 48,000 followers. I mean, we'd love to do that.
Sure.
Obviously that's why we do the podcast, because we want to get the word out on people that we enjoy dealing with to our listeners and our followers, man. But yeah, so that was something that stuck out to me. So I'm sure you get it all the time, man. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's some good people in there, and I know people don't mean bad by it, but like
right.
The Instagram community is really cool, man. It's very different from Facebook.
It is.
Just the platform itself. Like, you can laughing emoji, you can troll people with GIFs. Like, Facebook's, it's not for the thin-skinned.
Yeah.
Instagram, like 90% of the people on Instagram are nice. They're just trying to have a good time. Like,
yeah.
I love both sides. Like, it's hilarious when you watch, somebody get destroyed over a Blanton's post. But, on the flip side, if you're on the receiving end of all the shit, it's like, I'm getting destroyed right now.
Yeah, dude.
On Instagram, it's just all love, which is really cool. And it's all brand awareness. And people truly, there's no trolling of like, oh, this is good whiskey. And people are going and buying it and being like, that guy's totally joking.
Yeah.
It's, so it's really cool to like, Bourbon Finds did a barrel with us. It's sold out super fast.
Nice.
He's got another toasted bourbon coming, and like all these different Instagram influencers and stuff. Like, I feel like they kind of honestly say like, you have good product, you have good juice.
Sure.
You know how to pick good stuff. And so it's really rewarding at this point. It's kind of just like, we're growing with the wave. We never thought we'd be this popular. We never thought we started with 20 barrels 14 months ago. Like, we got over 200. We go through barrels so damn fast as far as like blending them and doing barrel picks and stuff. It's, so we're really gearing up for the future. If people are going to continue to embrace what we're doing, we might as well keep doing it. I mean, business is business, but this is fun, man. This is a passion. This was started off of, I started collecting, and I'm like, Dad, like, we can make this business work. We have a license to collect barrels and play with barrels.
Yeah.
So here we are doing that, and So we're about to get, if we can get everything to line up, we're about to close on a new warehouse.
Awesome.
Get a couple hundred more 5-year 21s. And I believe we're going to get like 123-year wheaters.
Nice.
All be MGP. And then from there, the goal is to end the year with about 1,000 barrels on hand. And then the goal for next year is to have a new still. We have like 12 barrels of our own distillate. That little 300-gallon still over there, it takes like a freaking whole week to make one barrel. So the amount of love in that barrel is insane.
Yeah.
But it's like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
We're too busy to do that now, so we need a bigger still. I think we're looking at Vendome, and it'll be able to be like a continuous still that can do like 4 to 12 barrels a day.
Oh, nice.
Which still won't suffice.
Yeah. So you're gonna do it still here, or are you gonna do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll move all the source barrels over to the warehouse that can hold about 1,000, and then we'll knock out a bunch of this and put that Vendome in, and really start ramping up production. And then from there, I mean, really, we just want to be a business that, a brand, or no matter what Prohibition Craft Spirits is putting out, whether it's under the Nulu label or whatever else we come up with, it's like, look, like if you trust our palate and you've liked what we put out in the past, like just know when you support us, you're supporting a family business, but it's only going to get better.
Yeah.
Time is what this business is based off of.
Right.
The longer it sits, the longer you do something, the better it gets. And so we're just getting better at blending, finishing, picking out good barrels. And, if we acquire a ton and, plan accordingly with, allocating X number a year of these wheaters, if they're 3 years old, I'd love to see, a 12-year small batch cash strength wheated MGP, go toe to toe with what, William LaRue Weller. Like, I just, I want to create something that I would love to drink, and everybody loves to splurge here and there and drink BTAC and drink Willet and all the high end stuff. But it's like, if we could be producing that day to day for people, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would be. We'd be fans for sure. Well, we're fans already.
Anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and
put my order.
Bin one.
Yeah.
Right now.
Bin on that. The whole time he's talking there, Matt, all I kept really hearing was that he's really trying to say that the Bourbon Life just needs to do a barrel pick. I think
don't worry.
Is what he's. I think that's really the long and short of what he was just getting to. So, all right, let's close it out. We're not going to close out the podcast because we've got something else to drink. But let's close it out on this toasted rye. Matt, what are your final thoughts on that one?
All right, so the toasted rye, again, it's great, but the nose on it, I started to pick up a little bit of like lemongrass to go with that mint, and then the finish on it was just really, really great. Toasty, marshmallow, mint, little chocolate. Yeah. This is a big hit. Really, really, really good rye.
Yep, definitely. So, and this one was going to?
It went to Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati Juice Co. Actually, they only took 188. It was a heavy barrel. Justin's House of Bourbon still has scraps. If you want one, call them fast. I think they have like a case or two left within the company.
Okay. Yeah, very nice. And now we're going to pour up a little... we're going to call this dessert round, right?
Mm-hmm. Dessert round.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and while we're all pouring up here, I'll give a little plug to you, Chase, that I think, I don't know if it's directly translate, but it seems to me a lot of the success here, Distillery can have, or you all can have really great product, really great barrels, and do really great thing. But if you're just like... if you're not a nice person, nobody's going to want to support you.
Fair.
And I think that says a lot about your character.
Yeah, no doubt.
And your willingness to be flexible, and just how chill of an atmosphere this is. You're talking about people coming in. Like the first thing within 5 minutes here, I don't know how many different samples from how many different barrels you've offered us, and just the hospitality. And you really can. You can have the best bourbon out there, but if you're a piece of...
if you're a dick about it.
Yeah. You're a dick. Like, it's
who
not
going to...
gonna...
the dick, man.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work. And I think that shows a lot about the success of this brand, that you've grown it is, one, you've got really great stuff, but you all are really great people. You care about the community as much as you care about the product that you're putting in everybody's glass. I think that goes a long way. I think, especially within this community, people see who's around the bottle a lot more than they see what's in it. And I think you're a great representation for the brand and what you've done with it.
Dude, thank you. That's
dude,
wow.
I'm gonna step away and let you guys have a few alone moments.
I'm gonna cry a little.
Yeah, I know, it's like
it's true. You got to think about it.
No,
Here's
I agree.
A brand that's grown so
man.
fast,
yep.
And you look at it and you say, well, it's got to be good stuff. But there's more to it than that. I mean, Mercedes-Benz are great cars, but if you don't have awesome people to sell them.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Not
Definitely.
gonna, no one's gonna feel good about forking
I
out.
don't
that
even work
money.
here, man. Family businesses.
Yeah. So now that the bromance is over, no, I'm just kidding. Let's jump back to what we're going to drink on this this extra bonus round here.
So this is a 95.5 rye, 4.5 year, aged for about 2 months in a fresh dump maple syrup barrel. I really like what these 95.5s are doing with some of these cool finishes, man. You can put something really sweet, a peach brandy, cherry brandy, whatever. That 95.5 still rings through. You're not getting it washed away. Some bourbons can get a little washed away. But yeah, that's what we're drinking. It's, I don't know. What do you guys think? Nose, palate?
It's got a great nose of maple, that's for certain.
Yeah, it does.
Nice maple, really like pecans as well. Nice toasty pecans, toasty maple.
Like
a little bit of that.
breakfast in a glass.
Yeah, more or less. It's like all the smells of a great diner.
I think we have I need a cleanup over here at the end of the table, man, because Chase just like looked like he he just took a drink and was like, oh.
Yeah, dude. They bottling team took a few of these. I'm like, you fuckers. I didn't get one. I think I was delivering a barrel to Total Wine or something, or at a Kroger talking about seafood or something random, and I got back and they were done with these, and the extras were gone.
And that was it. So this was a pick from somebody as well. Is that right? Or?
Yeah, Warrior Barrel Society. They're an awesome group. They do a lot of charity. It's a Facebook group. If you're in that group, you got to chug a lot, and they get real fucked up. So shout out Raymond and Ruth Alvarez. They, dude, I get called out in there. I'm like, sorry, just not today, man. I've been drinking all day.
It's not going to happen, man.
Yeah, those dudes are hilarious. The first time they came, they were like shotgunning beers. Like, let's take a picture and shotgun a beer and they bottled their barrel. And I mean, they've done a bunch of pics with us, and their stickers are always funny. This one is the Super Trooper sticker. For some reason, there's like a monkey holding a banana on it. Like, I don't even know how that relates, but it's hilarious. So yeah, that group's awesome. They did the other two double oaks we had, they blended those, and so that's why I recommended that. Is
right.
They had put their name on one, but our master taster Jordan was like, wait, let's put double oak 4 with double oak 2, and it went from like being just really rich and sweet and woody to like, wow, that tastes like cherry Dr. Pepper now. So, but yeah.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, what else are you picking up on this one, man?
There's a little bit of baking spice on the nose with it, like a little bit of cardamom, little cinnamon, something kind of zesty. Not like a lemon zest, but like a fresh baking zest with the nose on it that I pick up as well. That maple really shines through.
Yeah, the maple definitely comes through really
but
nice.
But it's not sweet like where you would think like, oh, maple syrup barrel, I'm drinking spiked syrup. No, it's definitely a 95.5 rye in there.
Yeah, and when you taste it, man, it's like that rye just comes, like you said, man, you don't want to light flickers, man. It's like everybody looks up like, wait, what? But yeah, the rye comes through. The maple doesn't overpower it. The rye does not lose that spicy kick that it's got. So I still pick that up on the palate and the finish. It definitely comes through, man. So very, very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Yeah, we didn't want to hide the whiskey, man. You still want to drink whiskey, right?
Oh yeah.
You can go by Crown Peach or Crown whatever if you really just want sweet candy.
Oh man, Crown Peach. What's up? We won't even go down that road, man.
Whoa. So those peach brandy barrels, you tried one. You're like, this is not my. It's like 120 proof Crown.
Yes, wasn't my jam. But hey, we can
careful. You might have just sold out of your peach brandy if you're calling it 120 proof Crown Peach.
It's dude. Somebody
housewives everywhere might be hitting you up for that.
The one that we did was a rye. There's one rye. Aaron. From High Cotton Warehouse in Mississippi picked it. Mm-hmm. It's like what you would think Crown Peach with rye at cask strength. It's like 120 proof, but it has the balls of like a rye.
Yeah.
So it drinks kind of like this. It has that peach candy ring overtone, but the rye is still hanging out because it was so spicy to begin with. And now you're like, oh, now bourbon drinkers and rye drinkers, they're like, now I'm in. It's not, but like you said, like the bourbon is just it's. Ladies like that and the bourbon maple syrup. Yeah, those are sweet and they're like 120 proof.
Oh, yeah. All right. So tell us about the future, man. What's it look like? We talked a little bit. You got the new warehouse and everything coming up. So what does the future look like for Chase and your girlfriend's not going to leave you because you're spending all your time here, right? Wife. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Girlfriend.
Hopefully she doesn't leave me. Yeah. So yeah, the future is just kind of, we're going to get the new still, the warehouse, more barrels. Hopefully, I believe it will. The community will continue to embrace us, and we'll continue to put out good juice for people to drink.
Yeah.
From there, man, it's like we're kind of just living the dream, and we just want to share the love and the passion and the thanks we have for what we're doing. So we're just going to continue to experiment, do different finishes, and grow the barrel program, grow blends. I really want to do like exclusive small batches for people, stores and states alike, cool stuff like that. And from there, we'll have our own distillery. I mean, distilleries are built on 10, 20, 100-year plans. So
sure, right.
We never had that kind of foresight. It's kind of cool. Every week that goes by, it's kind of like your foresight goes from like 2 years to 2 years and a couple months. And like, so now we're at the point to where we can kind of look out 5 years from now and be like, if we get this many barrels on hand, we end the year with 1,000 barrels, that secures our future for the next few years to where we can distill.
Right.
And then we can continue to collect barrels. I mean, trust me when I say to the listeners right now, like, there is a lot of badass whiskey that is going to be on the wholesale market. MGP is a monster, and they have great juice, but just wait. Some of these Kentucky distilleries that are doing contract distillation,
yeah,
dude, cooperage plays a huge role into it. If you see some Speyside aged or some, I love Kelvin because their barrels are innately toasted and charred, so you just get a whole different level of richness.
Yeah,
just look out for all the cool stuff that's on the horizon. So we'll always collect barrels and play with other people's whiskey once we own it, but I'm really excited to see what our distillate does. Our oldest barrel is about 2 years old, and it doesn't suck. So that's good to know.
That's good. That is good, yeah.
So that's kind of just the plan, man. It's just to keep growing. I plan to hopefully have, a son or daughter get involved one day. And,
yeah,
it's something that we never thought was going to be. But this business in this, state especially is totally heritage and legacy driven. So as long as the community and drinkers support us and enjoy what we're doing, we're happy to continue to do it. And
awesome.
Yeah.
Very, very cool, man. Definitely. So let's get some final thoughts because we're running over. We always run over though, Matt, right? So
we always say we have like a time limit. We always tell our guests, like,
I know
we try to do this many minutes in this segment, but it's like,
but we never do.
On.
We've never done that before,
No.
I don't think. So, all right. So, but let's get some final thoughts though on this, the rye and the maple finish.
I think it's great. It's got a little bit of contrasting flavor with the maple and the mintiness coming through on the rye. Mm-hmm. Is fun. It's fun to play with that, but it's another great expression. I like that it's sweet. The maple comes through, but you're definitely drinking rye whiskey at barrel strength, not maple syrup that's been spiked with rye whiskey. It's good. I of course I love it.
Yep, I agree with that, man. It's funny because you're talking about the mintiness, and I hadn't really detected that. I was getting that rye spiciness, but on the last sip, that mint just kind of popped through. Mm-hmm. So it was that spiciness from the rye, then that little hint of mint.
Yeah, it almost like cuts through the richness of the maple syrup and like the oiliness, and leave like a little bit of kind of like how you would balance a meal out with like something savory with a little bit of acid, just to cut through like any of the fat or the savory flavors of food. It's got a good balance.
Well said.
Good. We love balance.
There you go, man. All right. So before we wrap it up here, Chase, anything you want to add or anything?
Dude, thank you all. Anyone who buys and drinks Nulu, thanks for supporting our family, supporting what we're doing. Y'all are like, it's crazy. This is like a dream come true. We never thought this was going to happen. Thank you. Keep drinking Nulu and
yeah,
let's go. I don't know. Oop.
Yep. Matt, before we wrap it up, man, anything?
Chase, thanks for having us out. It's always good for Mark and I to get out of the Bourbon Life studios and
my basement.
Yeah, and hit the road here. And I was really curious coming into this because it seemed that 6 months ago I'd hardly heard of Nulu, and then now all of a sudden it's everywhere. And so that's not a knock on you at all. Seeing how the operation works and seeing what you all have done and how you've reached out and really taken the market of like the single barrels to heart and what you all are doing and seeing the future. I'm excited for this. I think you all have got a great thing, and you're a good personality, a great way to represent it.
Thanks, man.
Yep. Very well said, Matt. I agree. And, anytime you need tasters, we're
dude, seriously,
open and available. Matt is for,
I'll let y'all know when those trucks are coming. Like,
yeah.
I'll be here with bells on.
There you
Sweet.
go, man.
let's book it.
That sounds good. All right, man. Well, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to thank our sponsors again, the Stave Restaurant out there in Millville, Kentucky, on McCracken's Pike there on the banks of Glens Creek. Check them out between Castle and Key and Woodford Reserve. Chef Kyle Klatka doing some great stuff with the new menu out there. Check them out online, on Instagram, social media, Facebook. You won't be disappointed with their food. It's pretty awesome. And then also 3 Chord Bourbon, doing some great stuff, putting out Ari Sussman, their master blender distiller. He was a great guest. We had a great time with him and Neil Giraldo, the owner, who's also Pat Benatar's husband. I always have to throw that in there, but Ari's a great guy, man. He's really cool, doing some great stuff, and he is blending as well. So check them out online, 3chordbourbon.com, and also on Instagram and social media, Facebook. So thank you guys for listening. We appreciate everything you do. You can find us on Instagram as well, The Bourbon Life, Facebook, The Bourbon Life, the private group.
BourbonLife.net.
The Bourbon Lifers, the new website, right? The BourbonLife.net. And Matt and I are having conversations about moving some things into video. So maybe on YouTube here in the future, possibly. Matt's like, we'll see. But anyway, thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate it. So with that said, I'm going to wrap it up. Send us home with our tagline, which is, may your glasses always be full, and may you keep on living the bourbon life.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. Our mission at the Bourbon Life is simple: to share our passion for all things bourbon with you every week. And we'd really love to hear your thoughts on how we're doing. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at The Bourbon Life. You can also contact us by email at thebourbonlife@gmail.com. And you can always find us on your favorite podcast platform. If you have a moment, we'd love it if you would rate us and give us a review. So until next week, we hope your glass is always full and that you keep on living the bourbon life.